Imagine for a moment that you are part of a grand legacy. You are the product of a fearsome warrior, one known through the lands as nigh undefeatable. But you were born sickly and found yourself unable to move from a single spot while your illness eats away at you. One day, a strange person walks up to you and offers you a cure for your illness. What then? What does your life become, and what do you do with this opportunity? Will you live for yourself, or will you restore the dignity of your predecessor? These are the questions faced by Millicent, adoptive daughter of Gowry, descendant of Malenia, and heir to the Scarlet Rot. Today we're going to take you through her story and try to understand where Millicent came from, her goal, and the goals of Gowry and her sisters. We're going to start with our theories on Millicent. We believe that while Malenia is her mother, Millicent is more of an offshoot than a daughter. When Malenia chose to unleash the Aeonia in her battle with Radahn, she tossed aside her pride and left pieces of herself across the battlefield in the form of the Aeonia petals. We believe Millicent and her sisters were born from the leftover bloom of Malenia's Aeonia. Much like a plant leaving a seed, we believe each sister contains a piece of Malenia's will given physical form. Millicent is literally the pride Malenia shed in order to defeat Radahn, the piece of her that held her Scarlet Rot at bay, and we hope to portray this through her story. When we reach Sellia, town of sorcery, there's a shack that we can visit. Inside is a man named Gowry, who has a proposition for us. Should we accept, he says,
"Then you are willing to lend a hand, are you? I need your help to heal a certain young girl. Her name is Millicent. You will find her beyond Sellia, resting at the church atop the cliff, stricken by the rotting sickness."
In order to learn Sellia's secrets, we must defeat General O'Neill, take the unalloyed needle, and help Gowry save this girl. When we return, he tells us the secret of Sellia, and we learn that the needle is in need of repair. We can rest at the nearest site of grace, and upon returning, he says,
"I have awaited your return. The needle is repaired. Now it will forestall the rotting sickness, I'm sure. Will you give it to the girl, Millicent? I will reward you in kind." Millicent rests at the church atop the cliff beyond Sellia, the town yonder, tended to by the witless pests who worship her, or rather her rotting sickness, as a god. A wretched fate, indeed. The poor girl, she never wished for any of this. Do you find it peculiar that I would show such concern for the girl? Well, I'm the one that found her, a mere babe in the swamp of Aeonia. She is one of my dear daughters. But the rotting sickness erodes one's memory. I doubt that she remembers the first thing about me. Oh, I must be getting old. I didn't always worry so much.
It's then we can solve the puzzle of Sellia and make our way to the church, where we find Millicent sitting against a wall. Every breath is labored, as if she does not have long to live, and when we speak to her, she tells us of the Scarlet Rot and warns us to stay away. Her curse is not to be meddled with unless we wish for an early grave. We can offer her the repaired needle in order to quell her disease.
You ask that I stab myself with the needle to quell the Scarlet Rot, but how? Never mind. I've decided I would rather trust you than simply continue to spoil from within. Would you mind averting your eyes for a moment? Well, that was easier than expected. But why do I feel so?
It is then that Millicent falls unconscious. After we rest at the site of grace nearby, we see her standing tall, no longer breathing heavily, having tied her hair back.
Hoped to see you again. My apologies for when last we met. I fainted before I could even thank you. Everything is as you said. Since inserting the needle, the scarlet rot has ceased to writhe. Even the nightmares have abated. And now, though I can scarcely believe it myself, I can move as I please.
She gives us her thanks and a token of her appreciation. As far as we can tell, we've succeeded and Millicent's life has been saved.
Considering leaving. On a journey, with the needle buried in my flesh, I've started to recall, but dimly, my destiny. It's all thanks to you. My name is Millicent. I pray fate permits us meet again.
We can try to tell Gowry that his daughter is safe, but upon reaching his shack, he's gone, and Millicent stands by his chair.
Oh, hello again. Something about this place felt familiar to me, so I decided to pay a visit, hoping to find someone here, but I've only found emptiness. Perhaps, before my departure, I needed someone to say farewell to. Well, never mind that. I must focus on my journey, for which I have you to thank. I must stay strong.
Should we visit the shack again, we can see Millicent has left and Gowry has returned. Upon speaking with him, he says,
You noticed, did you? Indeed, Millicent did visit this hovel of a home. It seems the memories eaten away by the rotting sickness yet remain, but faintly. However, she has no need of me anymore. No, she must embark on her journey and stare her fate in the eye. I mustn't impede. As I've aged, I've found the best way to aid the young is to be forgotten.
Gowry shows a great amount of concern for his daughter, wanting her to succeed in her journey, but fearful of the dangers that await her. Should we choose, we're able to keep helping her along the way. The next time we cross paths with Millicent, it is at the Erdtree Gazing Hill in the Altus Plateau.
We meet again. In truth, it's been smooth sailing for me. The scarlet rot has stilled since last we met. As such, I've been able to continue my journey. Though rather vexingly, I realized that if I still had my sword arm, I could have aided you in battle.
She walks the path of Malenia after her battle with Radahn, the path followed by Cleanrot Knight Finlay as they carried her back to the Haligtree. The road ahead is full of danger. Thankfully, Millicent has us to help her along the way. Should we give her the Valkyrie's prosthesis, she can continue on her journey.
Giving me this arm, thank you. I am in your debt yet again, I think. If the arm serves well enough, it might be possible for me to wield a sword again. If the arm serves well enough, it might be possible for me to wield a sword again. Perhaps then I can aid you in battle.
After aiding Millicent by providing her with a new sword arm, we can return to Gowry again, where he lights up at this course of events.
You gave Millicent a golden arm replacement. This is a wonderful development. Thank you for your kindness. Now, Millicent may fully realize her true warrior's potential, like her beautiful mother. The girl, Millicent, she is a bird, green and undeveloped, waiting to flower into magnificence. What a wondrous day that will be. In truth, before her, I'd never seen a bud of such superior quality. She might very well outshine her sisters.
After this conversation, we're able to purchase the Pest Threads incantation from Gowry, and he will regale us with a new tale.
Do you have an interest in rot incantations? Then you might like to learn something of the history of Malenia, goddess of scarlet rot. Queen Marika and her king consort Radagon were blessed with twin demigods, and Malenia was one of them. She was born an empyrean carrying the Scarlet Rod. An empyrean is no mere demigod. In the age of the Elden Ring and Queen Marika, the precious empyrean was born, a new god to forge a new order. Since Malenia fought Radahn, and the great scarlet flower blossomed in Aeonia, I have dedicated myself to her, and to the resplendence of the Order of Rot, the cycle of decay and rebirth.
From here, we start to see Gowry's facade slip. Perhaps he's not the doting father wishing for his daughter's success that he's made himself out to be. He uses flower terminology to refer to Millicent. She is green, underdeveloped, a bud. It would make sense that he refers to her with this flower terminology as he found her in the Aeonia. The way he talks about her as a flower instead of a person leads you to believe that maybe his true intentions are something darker. Now that Millicent has a new arm, she's able to fight the Godskin Apostle with us at Windmill Heights. She fights with a unique version of the Shamshir that has the waterfowl dance art of war, an ability directly related to Malenia. Upon our victory, we can speak with her at this site of grace.
We meet yet again. The arm you gave me truly is a thing of wonder. It feels just like my own. Even handling a sword. Perhaps it is foolish to say this to you of all people, but I am sure of my skill with the sword. Thus, I would have you call upon me in battle again, should you ever have the need. I would have you call upon me in battle, should you ever have the need. It is the only way that I can express my thanks.
We meet with Millicent again near the ancient Snow Valley ruins in the mountaintop of giants.
We'd meet in such a place. What could your purpose possibly... No. I know well enough who you are. And what I know is good enough for me. Call upon me again, in battle, should you have the need. I'm searching for a fort to the north of the ruins. I heard the master of the fort was given a medallion that allowed him to visit the Haligtree. Indeed, I believe that is where Malenia will be found. The Haligtree is hidden somewhere in these northern lands.
She is still on the path to finding Malenia, making progress alongside us as we make our way to the Haligtree. Once we find our way to the prayer room at Elphael, Brace of the Haligtree, we can speak with Millicent again, and she reveals the true purpose of her quest.
When we meet, I can only surmise our purposes are aligned. In which case, allow me to explain myself. I am of Malenia's blood, but in what capacity I know not. I could be sister, daughter, or an offshoot. Whatever the case, though, I am certain of a kinship between us. There is something I must return to Malenia. The will that was once her own. The dignity. The sense of self that allowed her to resist the call of the Scarlet Rot, the pride she abandoned, to meet Radahn's measure.
While Gowry calls Malenia Millicent's mother, Millicent is not sure of their true connection. She only feels that a part of Malenia lives inside of her. Possibly the best part, her pride as a warrior. This line is where we started to formulate our theory. With everything given to us, it truly seems as though the Aeonia quite literally gave birth to Millicent and her sisters. From here, Millicent cannot proceed in her quest unless we defeat the ulcerated tree spirit just before the drainage channel site of grace. Once we defeat this enemy, we're given a choice. Do we help Millicent in her next battle, or invade and have her die at our hand? Before making this decision, we can finally learn the full truth of Gowry's intentions if we visit him one more time. When we reach him, he seems to be crying, and upon speaking with him, he says,
It's just, I realized that I'd soon be saying my goodbyes to Millicent, and my eyes began to well. She is to meet them very soon, her sisters, And when she does, she'll be defeated, surely, and begin to flower. Which is why, if you happen to be present for the girl's fight with her sisters, I ask that you side with the sisters and kill Millicent. It must be done by your hand, no other. Millicent trusts you, rather deeply in fact. Sever that trust. Nurtured by betrayal, her bud will flower most vividly. When Malenia ascends to godhood, Millicent too shall be reborn, as a Scarlet valkyrie. You can't tell me you don't wish to see it? The superior bud that is Millicent becoming the finest of flowers? I beg of you, kill her, with your own two hands.
At last, all is laid bare. Gowry is no father. He is a manipulator working to create a new Scarlet Valkyrie, the second coming of the goddess of rot, Malenia. Should we choose to kill Gowry at any point, this concept is driven home by the reveal that he is simply a kindred of rot. And after returning to the shack, he is there again, alive and well. The man Gowry is nothing more than a face any kindred of rot can wear, meaning their entire religion likely orchestrated the events of Millicent's journey. Should we choose to invade Millicent, we will fight alongside her sister Mary. This battle is fierce, and even with the two of you, Millicent is a force to be reckoned with. After we defeat her, she realizes our intention all along was to bring her to this point, and force her to become a Scarlet Valkyrie. And after her defeat, we see a new, small Aeonia has bloomed in the area, likely where she waits to become her new self. However, if we help Millicent, we're brought into an epic confrontation with her sisters. We finally meet all four of Millicent's sisters in this fight. Mary, the eldest, who wields a halo scythe. Maureen, the second sister, who wields a tree spear. Amy, the third sister, who wields two flowing curved swords. And Pollyanna, youngest sister, who wields a blade of calling and casts incantations. This crowd control battle is difficult even with Millicent's strength by your side. But as strong as each sister is, none were quite a match for Millicent, which is likely why she is the only one of them capable of becoming a Scarlet Valkyrie. This fight is not only a struggle over whether or not Millicent will lose her identity, but a show of the true strength of Malenia's pride. This pride is so powerful that with a little help from our Tarnished, it can defeat all of the other pieces of Malenia that are pushing it to once again give up control and become a monster. Millicent, Malenia's pride, fights to maintain her personhood, pushing back against the tide of rot. After this battle, we can speak with Millicent one last time.
Hello. Thank you for lending your hand. Without your help, I could not have defeated that quartet. I feel as if I've been in your debt from beginning to end. Thank you. With your help, I was able to live as my own person, if only in passing. But this is where things end. I paused to even tell you, but I took out the needle myself. Tell whoever put you up to this that if I am to flower into something other than myself, I would rather rot into nothingness as I am. Please, let me pass alone. The scarlet rot writhes now, worse than ever. Soon, I won't be more than a mound of flesh, curse-laden, untouchable. I wouldn't want such a thing to bring you harm.
Millicent only had two options in front of her: lose to her sisters and succumb to the Aeonia, or return Malenia's pride to her, which would likely end in her disappearing from the world. She instead chooses to live as herself, to throw away her legacy and any possibility of becoming a new being altogether. She chose a death at the hand of the Scarlet Rot, but she is content in knowing she was bound to no one else's will. Thanks to our Tarnished, Millicent was able to live and journey as an individual, and in the end, this physical manifestation of Malenia's pride, refused destiny and forged her own path. We can speak with Gowry one last time after Millicent chooses to die rather than become his new Scarlet Valkyrie, where he says,
Millicent, my daughter, why would you take out the needle? You were so close, so very close, to becoming the fairest of all flowers. Would you disown us, too, as your mother did? We, children of the Scarlet Rot. Millicent, Malenia, do you detest us so utterly?
What Gowry and the other kindred of Rot never understood was that the Rot was no gift to Malenia or Millicent. It was a curse upon their lives, and one they'd have sooner lived without. They had no intention of bringing about an age of Rot, and likely truly despised those who did. In the end, Millicent was able to resist the kindred of Rot and choose her own path because she is quite literally Malenia's pride. The same pride she wanted to return that allowed Malenia to contain the Rot until she unleashed it against Radahn lives within Millicent, and in choosing to let herself die rather than lose her identity to either the Rot or her mother, she showed Artarnish the strength of that pride. Unlike her mother, Millicent would not become a monster. She would defy destiny the only way she could, at the cost of her life. We want to be clear that these theories are only that, theories that could fill the gaps in Millicent's story. While we don't have much in the way of concrete evidence to back up these claims, we believe the way Gowry refers to Millicent in flower terms may be more literal than it seems, as is Millicent's desire to return Malenia's pride to her. What do you think of the missing pieces in this story? How would you fill the gaps? Thank you for joining us as we dove into the story of Millicent, the daughter of Malenia. We hope you enjoyed the formatting of this video, as it's a little different from what we normally do on our channel. Let us know if you like this style of following the questline and including our theories throughout, and if you think we should do this for more quests through the game. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on any of our content. We look forward to seeing you again for more Elden Lore.